Hello, everyone. Welcome in this new episode where I will go over the action management. So, how to be in full control over the actions that you have going on in your life. This is fully based on the method of the getting things done method of the David Allen. Um, with the premise, there are a couple of premises, a couple of belief systems underneath this which are very important to know and to remember. Like these are paradigm shifts that are helping you to step out of the old behavior into a new world. Like I invite you to listen for insights instead of for agreements or judgment at, while I'm saying these. And one of the things that often happens is you need to prioritize. You need to prioritize what is best for you at this time. The paradigm shift itself is there are no prioritizations like the multiple ones. And let me explain that just a little bit. Like whatever happens right here or in my life or what I'm doing right now, I only have one presentation and one um, prioritization, and that is you right here, right now, with being in this state, being in this present. That concept of multiple prioritizations has been, well, an old concept of the Industrial Revolution, or at least that's how I see it, with the goal of you doing more for the correct people, as in for colleagues or for teachers. You need to prioritize. You need to prioritize. Do the most important thing first. Well, the goal itself is to experience freedom and to experience fun in life, in the here and the now. And how is this connected to action management? It's quite often, at least what I hear, is the instruction how to manage your actions is to write down your to-do list, like all of those 10, 12, 15 that you need. And you need to pick which are the most important ones and then put them on the top. And the rest are whatever. That has a downside. One of them is your action list will never end. It will keep piling up more actions and more things, and you're fighting against the people that you're talking with, or perhaps even with yourself, with the idea of, yeah, okay, but what's the most important thing? What should I do now? Like, you're kind of stuck in that rat race because of that. The paradigm shift is you're in full control, or the goal itself is to be full in control over all of your actions that you have to do. And then the definition, what is something that you have to do? Very interesting one. Because it's not about how much that you process, like how much that your output is. It is that invitation into mindful productivity, in experiencing that freedom into that next step. Because it really doesn't matter how much that you uh, put out, like have as an output. The most important thing that is popping up is for you to be in control over the stuff that you've agreed with other people. So that means that your word becomes your bounds. Whatever you say, you do. And then people perceive you as trustworthy. Is that something that you want? Me personally, I do. Like, I know that I'm not perfect with all of the actions and all of the stuff that I'm having, that I still lack on some areas, stuff that I'm procrastinating upon. But in general, that underlying concept, that idea, that ideal is whatever you say, you actually do. Because most of us feel negative feelings. If we said to someone, yeah, I'll be there, or yeah, I'll do this before the end of the week, or I'll call you before then, and then you not calling that person, that's painful, or at least that's how I experience it personally. And that makes me like use the excuse of, yeah, I was busy as an excuse to make up for me not being in control. And I fully understand it from that concept of we've never been taught how to manage our actions, how to deal with those steps. Even the teachers were like, or at least my teachers were like, yeah, just write down a list and then start working upon that. Maybe at the beginning that is reasonable, that's enough. But if you grow older, or when you grow older, while you're growing older, uh, your to-do list becomes more complex. There are more people that you resonate with, have contact with. The time frame becomes longer. Sometimes you need to wait for someone else to come in with certain action. Sometimes there's an action, but you need to do an action beforehand before you can actually start that action. And all of these new extra layers is something that we, or at least I personally, have never been taught. And if you're experiencing that, especially with the procrastination and just having trouble to try to remember things, to try to remember what you need to do, then this is a very, very, very powerful video for you. Like I'm deliberately slowing down a little bit because of it. Because in the ideal situation, I want you to listen to this for the full. I have about 15 minutes max, so that's my time frame. To really go a little bit deeper upon what are we actually doing. I'll add time slots as well, so you can jump over a couple of them. It's a really powerful one. I promise. I really do. Good. Let's get into it. Yeah, before I show you this screen, the starting point of all of the second brain methodology, PKS, personal acknowledgement system, is to first to externalize the thoughts that you have in your mind. This could be stuff that you're thinking about. Yeah, this guy should have responded about me, and like write that stuff down. Even if he didn't do that, but if that's annoying you at that moment, write it down. All of the actions that you believe that you have in your life. This could be the ones that you agreed upon with someone else, or this could be the actions that you want to do yourself. Exercise each morning, like doing push ups, making that next step. All of those steps, feel free to write them down, all of them, in that brain dump. And later on, that's what I'm going to teach you now, I'm going to show you how to organize them into your action management system, which concludes from 5 categories. This is an actionable must, an not actionable must, an maybe action, a waiting for action, and a time-bound action. Within those time bounds, there are some little details as well, but let's not get into that right now. And the premise is, the belief system beneath it is, every action that you need to do, so the change in the physical life, paying a bill, doing an exercise, doing something, is an action. Everything is. And the definition of an action is starting with a verb. What are you actually doing? Walking, paying something, publicizing something, sending out this, typing a mail, sending the mail. So really start with that verb, especially in the English language. There are some other languages who do that as well, but some don't. Like start with the verb. Write down what you need to do. It's a really powerful one. So every action can be put in one of these 5 categories. If you feel like that you can't put that in one of these 5 categories, you most probably need to split that idea down to separate actions. Like make them as small as possible for you to make that digestible. So you don't need to remember those anymore. Good. Let's go into it and let's see how far we can go. Yes. Amazing. So in this current state, I am using Google Calendar or Google Tasks. This is something within the Google platform. It's very, very well known. So feel free to use that here as well. And it has been, most people have that option. Can I show this now? No, I can't, sorry. Within Google Calendar, you have an option to switch to tasks here on the right hand side. And then you see this new image. Most people see their calendar here, and then they have, sorry, not my notes. And then they have, I've got no idea why it's not actually here. Most of the time, list here on the side. But what you can do is to go to task here, and then you see this Trello board. Good. This Trello board consists from 5, now to be honest, like 6 of them, which includes that actionable must, not actionable must, and maybe waiting for, and something that I've added that's kind of outside of the container of this course is the habit building habits. So these are the reoccurring actions that you want to integrate into your life. So habits. And then we have something that is called the time-bound actions. And you can see them as appointments or parties that you're going to, as in what appointment, what did I agree upon with someone else? What did I say that I would do within a certain time frame? So an appointment is you meeting me, for example, or someone else between 1 and 2 is actually an action. It is you needing to be there within that time frame between 1 and 2. It is an action. Have everything, think about that as an action-driven mindset. Good. So these are the 5 categories. Then we go into actionable must. What exactly is a must? A must is what you've agreed upon with someone else, because your word becomes your bound. If I said to a client of mine, I will send you this invoice before the end of the week, then I can do an action, send that invoice before the end of the week with a certain deadline. But at this moment, I don't have an invoice. So I first need to create one. And creating an invoice, that is actually an actionable invoice for me. Because what a lot of us are experiencing is that a lot of things in our to-do list are musts, are things that we've agreed upon with other people. But there is a limiting factor, or there's a variable that still needs to be done before we can actually do the thing. So in this case, I've agreed upon with the client that I needed to send this before the end of this week, Friday. That's sending out the invoice, but I haven't created that one. And if I am not actually doing this, sending out the invoice, then procrastination starts. If you need to do something but you don't exactly know where to start, what's the first step, then it starts with organizing, as in what would be the first step? What could I actually do before sending that invoice? This could be creating the invoice. But it also could be, like, really depends on your current state where you are. It also could be like sign in for PayPal to be able to create an invoice. If that would be a reality, then you would actually say move this into the non-actionable must, because you can't create an invoice just yet. And then sign in for PayPal. If that's the thing. Because what a lot of us are experiencing is they have very long action lists, but they're not doing it because there is some limiting factor that's withholding them from doing that. And in this case, if I needed that, PayPal is with 1L, by the way, and I actually did sign in for PayPal, sign in my email just like, oh yeah, I did that thing, close it off, I've got no actionable musts. And then you have for the Google Calendar the option to, what is actionable right now? If I have that, can I create my invoice right now? Yeah, I can. And then you can change it into there. And then the action becomes create your invoice. If you completed that one, then send that out. This one. It sounds ridiculously easy. I understand. And if you're already above this, you're like, of course, I can send that invoice directly. I know how this stuff works. That's most probably because you've already did this step a couple of times. And this is, of course, an example that you can use in different states. This could be buying a new house. Okay, but that's kind of a big project. Like, what kind of steps are before that? What do you need to do? So it has a couple of like little steps, and later on you can connect that into a project, which is a whole different container or creation. But let's not get into that one at this moment. Let's just first focus on what have you agreed upon with someone else, sending that invoice. And if you're not sending that invoice, what is holding you back to create the invoice, to create a PayPal? So then you need to split your task into smaller tasks to actually make it doable. Good. So that's the difference between actionable and actionable must and not actionable must. Amazing. Nothing to do here at this moment. There is, however, a not actionable must right now with paying the bill or paying rent, which is due the 31st of March. So that's the end of this week, for example. What is holding you back from paying that? It could be, for whatever reason, that you're low in funds, financial funds, and that you are waiting to be paid by another source or to get, like your salary, your money coming in, or an invoice from someone else. So we will get to that a little bit later on, but this is also a reason why it's not actionable right now, because you're waiting on someone else before you, or something else, enough money before you can create this or do this action. Then we have the maybe list. And the maybe list is a very important one, as in if you are truly like, let's imagine it differently. Let's imagine you write down all of your actions that you think that you have in your list. You have 15 ones, and based on that, the 3 top ones are the most priority, if you still work in that priority state. And then you go into, okay, but are these remaining 16, are they stuff that really needs to be, do they really need to be done? Like optimizing Instagram, for example, for your uh, for your business. Is that really something that you need to do, or is that something that you want to do and could be doing to optimize everything, to make everything better, but you don't actually need to do that? So the definition is, have you agreed this with someone else? And if not, please move it to the maybe list. Then you still have it written down somewhere, so you're not like thinking about it as in, oh, I could do this, could do this or this or this, and just be in that state of it's okay. So that's the maybe list. So it's not relatable to someone else or something else. Like paying your rent is not directly connected to a person, but it is with an agreement that you made with a certain person or organization or company. So that. And then you have the waiting for list, which is a very interesting one. Let's imagine, if you remember what we just did, as in sending the invoice to the client, what happens is that you're currently an action that appears is you waiting for the response or for the payment of the client for the invoice. In this case, I already written it down as in payment of client X for invoice. Let's imagine that you just sent that invoice today. And then the client has 2 weeks to respond, to actually pay that. So then you're waiting until at latest the 10th of April before the client must pay your invoice. Just now in a conversation, someone said, yeah, as in, yeah, you can automate that part. Yeah, you can. This is for everything in life, but this is, of course, an example to make sure that you're understanding the structure first. And later on, if you're doing this quite rapidly, quite often, then you can automate some of these steps. But first, it's understanding the method. Um, and you're waiting for money to receive from your job, like from your boss or something else, or something that you did. So let's imagine that you're just receiving a mail, you're seeing on your mobile phone as an, hey, payment has been made. Amazing. Then you're finishing this task, as in, I've finished waiting. So you're not actually writing down um, pay me, so you're not managing someone else. You're only managing your own action. And the action is, I am waiting for that payment. So if that payment came in, then it is finished. So you finished waiting for receiving money. And because of this, you can go look at your system or whenever, do this once a day. Hey, yeah, some of the not actionable musts are actually actionable right now because I received money. Then you're going to change this into actionable musts. And then you can actually do that before this deadline, the 31st. And then do the payment. And then go back to your Google Calendar and actually finishing it off. Like, it sounds tedious in this example, I understand, or at least it could be. But remember this for the stuff that you're actually procrastinating on. This is such a massive, massive game changer if you're willing to do that. Because what will happen, like, and I noted that, know that for my own life, based on the environment that I've lived in, that I'm living in. Quite often we're not actually doing something because we kind of know that there's something underneath there that we don't actually want to do. And we deliberately keep it vague and foggy. That's something that Jordan Peterson talks about as well, as in, I have to look on his quote. He talks about like keeping stuff in the fog or clearing away the fog, something like that. It's like a real and amazing quote that is relevant to this one, has power in this one. Yeah, so if you're clarifying it as in, yeah, this really needs to be done, as in sending out an email or calling that person. Okay, what's currently holding you back from doing that? Not knowing what to say. Great. So then the action becomes write down what you need to say first. And that is an actionable stuff. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. This is what I want. This is what I want. Great. Then it becomes an actionable must first. And then if you've written it down, then you can start like calling that person because you know what you say. It's quite often that procrastination starts if we have everything fake. Like, I don't know where to start. Like, in serious, be humble in these situations. Like, really be like, oh, I should be doing this, but I feel like, yeah, I know. And then this situation, this practice will help you so much. This is the level of mindful productivity. This is something that we haven't been taught in school. Good. And this is like personal understanding, personal steps. Good. Is there anything else? Yeah, so we're waiting for the client, for the invoice. Let's imagine you have an amazing client and he pays directly because he's like, yeah, this is an actionable that I can do right now. Yeah, let me just do it right away. And it is being paid. Amazing. Then it's done. And then if you want to, this is a nice example. Reach out to X to see if she wants to go to the sauna. So this is a maybe action that I can do. Like, let's imagine that that person is responding. Oh no, let's imagine that I actually sent that message, that text message, or that call, that conversation to that person, and I'm waiting for that person to respond. So then I'm going to finish it here, and I'm going to add in my waiting for list, waiting for reply. We are going to the sauna. An important thing is the plan a day to go to the sauna is still in the maybe list. Could happen or could not. At this moment, you don't know. Let's imagine that she says, yes, let's do it. Let's go there. So then you're finished waiting for her response. And then you're going to add a day. Sorry, you're going to change the maybe into an actionable must. As in, yeah, now you're responsible. Perhaps you already decided on a date. Then the actionable must becomes plan a day for a sauna for the 5th. This has nothing to do with priority in a certain way. This is you decided upon with that person, as in we're going to the sauna, and then it becomes an actionable must for the 5th. So to do it here. Yeah, this is kind of what I wanted to tell you guys with a couple of examples, what to do in which situation with a couple of examples. It's, yeah, I really want to press on how important it is, but I want to close it off with this for now, because I start feeling my voice. Yeah, if there's anything else, if you found this very, very useful, feel free to share this video to other people and to share it publicly. I'm all ear to create value and knowledge. And other than that, I wish you the best and let's create the world. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye bye.